The Philippines and Southeast Asia are made up of over 7,000 islands that were created by a string of volcanoes and seismic earthquake activity around the edges of the Pacific Ocean, known as the Ring of Fire. With so many islands, the Philippines easily surpass both Hawaii and the Galapagos in the amount of endemic and biologically diverse wildlife they contain. It is a place so diverse that scientists believe that many of the species that live here are yet to be identified. Seagrass beds play a vital role for coral reefs by soaking in the sun's energy. The water must be shallow and crystalline so that the reef can get lots of sunlight. Coral grows best in sunny, shallow, clear waters. Clumps of coral here provide one type of shelter for groups of fish to hide from potential predators. Man-made structures, such as the cathedral-like columns of a wooden pier, provide another haven from the dangers of the open ocean. Its dark corners are useful for a school of juvenile diamondfish to hide in. As the pier is slowly colonized, the structure comes alive. Every centimeter of living space is taken up. And the pillars are slowly converted into colorful totem poles of coral, sponges, and algae. Worldwide, there are more than 1,000 species of anemone, but only 10 of these host the planet's 30 or so species of clownfish. The anemone's tentacles are loaded with millions of tiny poison-laden harpoons that fire on contact to protect against predators and snare small fish and planktonic prey. But it is believed that the clownfish's slimy mucus covering around its body protects them from the anemone's stings. Harlequin ghost pipefish. These strange-looking creatures spend a lot of time floating upside down, but it is a specialized tactic. Looking like a piece of seaweed helps them get overlooked, so they can easily ambush their prey. Even fish as large as the harlequin sweetlips have predators. Few on the reef can afford to stray far from cover, even if it's just a gap between corals to dive into. Juvenile striped eel catfish, the only catfish found in coral reefs, like to form dense, ball-shaped schools of 100 for protection, so they're not such an easy mouthful for predators. Fusilier fish also work together to improve their individual chances of survival. The shoal's many eyes help to spot danger in time to take swift defensive action. Named for its black and yellow striped tail, the tiger-tailed seahorse is one bizarre-looking fish. It has a curved trunk, a grasping prehensile tail, and its horse-like head features a long, tubular snout with eyes that are able to swivel independently. Their small fins can beat up to 50 times per second, but they are the slowest moving of all fish. Since they're not the strongest swimmers, they use their tails to anchor themselves against the current. Without a stomach to store food, they graze almost constantly on tiny crustaceans. Seahorses are also the only creature in the animal kingdom where the male, rather than the female, becomes pregnant. These unusual adaptations of seahorses has enabled their survival for more than 20 million years. But there are other creatures in these waters that challenge even the seahorse for the title of nature's strangest creation. One of the Philippines' most prized possessions lies in the waters that surround Apo Island. The Apo Reef covers more than 13 square miles of seafloor, making it the largest continuous reef system in the world, second to the Great Barrier Reef. Corals may cover up to 85% of the available space on the reef and compete with one another for both space and light. In an environment where space is at a premium, the ability to be mobile can be an advantage. Feather sea stars may look like sedentary plants, but they use their brilliantly colored plume-like arms to gracefully glide through the currents where they feed on tiny creatures in the water column. When they land on a coral to rest, they curl their arms over, making parts of the reef look like a prize-winning flower bed. The feather star's adaptation for straining the currents for tiny planktonic prey is one shared by many of the reef's inhabitants. But one coral is believed to have lost the need to capture live prey altogether. Pom-pom coral. The hypnotic pulsing of its tentacles draw water across its surface to help with breathing in and absorbing its essential nutrients. This corner of the reef may appear peaceful, but it contains its fair share of stealthy and deadly hunters. A cuttlefish uses millions of specialized pigment-containing skin cells, known as chromatophores, to blend into the environment. Its true colors are only revealed when its victim is too close to escape. This master of disguise can change color in a few thousandths of a second, a tactic that confuses both predators and prey. The rapid color changes can also be used to flash messages of aggression towards rivals, as well as to romance potential mates. Nearby, another predator also has a stunning way of confusing its prey. Thresher sharks. They are easily identified by their very long, slender tail that looks like a whip. Their tails can be half the total length of the shark and a third of its weight. When threshers hunt, they don't have to chase their prey. They use their tails as a powerful whip to round up small fish, then swat and stun their victims. Across all of the world's oceans, thresher shark populations have been drastically reduced by overfishing for their meat and fins. It still remains to be seen whether these magnificent sharks will be found here in years to come, or if they'll be pushed to the point of no return to become ghosts of the wild deep. Just south of the Philippines, and not far from the coast of Borneo, lies the Malaysian island of Sipadan. Sipadan is known as the turtle capital of the world. That's because of the unusually large numbers of both green and hawksbill turtles that often visit the island to mate and nest all year round. The waters around the island have been classified as one of the ocean's richest ecosystems and are home to more than 3,000 species of fish. Many make their home within the arms of the corals, while others float above. Batfish are known to be a particularly peaceful and social species, and often form shoals with other types of fish. But not all of Sipadan's residents are quite so placid. Nearby is an area called Barracuda Point. Several thousands of great barracuda are found here in huge tornado-shaped shoals that literally engulf these waters. Any change of direction runs like a massive pressure wave through the shoal. Not far from Barracuda Point is a mysterious cave system that leads far into the limestone body of Sipadan Island. Turtle Cavern is not so much a cave as it is a labyrinth, as many who have been enticed to enter here have not returned. At 656 feet deep, the cave is a complex maze of twisting tunnels and countless dead ends. 131 feet from the mouth of the cave is a chamber littered with the remains of turtles that were searching for a place of sanctuary, but instead met their doom when they couldn't find their way out. This is Turtle Tomb. But not only turtles have perished in this chamber. A dolphin and a marlin are among the piles of skeletons, and there are even grisly tales about 2 human fatalities here, the last one in 1994. The tomb has claimed many lives, but most turtles that use the caves to sleep in do escape its clutches, and they are free to continue their lives. Some species of turtles are believed to live to be over 100 years old. Without a cave to hide in, many creatures that live in the Indo-Pacific region's volcanic sands find that camouflage is the best form of defense. The Moses sole matches its surroundings so precisely that it might as well be invisible. Others keep an eye out from the safety of a burrow. The mimic octopus is versatile enough to improvise in any of its surroundings. It can also imitate other creatures, including venomous sea snakes or toxic flatfish, to ward off potential predators. Several animals here have different approaches on camouflaging themselves. Hairy spider crabs might pass for a clump of seaweed, while the Carey crab goes the simplistic route of wearing the protective spines of a sea urchin on its back. A porcelain crab filters the seawater, sieving tiny particles to eat by using their fan-like mouthparts. At just under 1 inch in diameter, it is easily concealed by the anemone that it lives in. The spiny leaffish's defense method is to use its fins to rock gently back and forth in the current. The need for such extreme disguises can only mean one thing: predators. Many are armed with mouths large enough to take advantage of any opportunity that passes their way, while others are even more cunning hunters. The hairy frogfish may not look like much of a predator, but the way it attracts its prey is a cut above the rest. These members of the anglerfish family use a fishing rod and fleshy lure to draw their prey within range, a strategy called aggressive mimicry. They also possess one of the fastest strikes in the animal kingdom and can engulf its target by expanding the volume of its mouth by 12 times in less than 6,000ths of a second. For its victims, there are rarely any second chances. Of all Indonesia's masters of illusion, perhaps none is as alien-looking as the flamboyant cuttlefish. Its pulsating flashes of color warn predators that its flesh is highly toxic. And even though it may only grow to be 2 to 3 inches in length, it is believed that its poison is strong enough to kill an adult human. Surprisingly, when the flamboyant cuttlefish hunts, they use a low-key approach. They extend a tentacle like a billiard cue stick to work out the perfect angle for its attack. In such a violent world, all creatures here must keep a constant watch for potential danger. Pufferfish can inflate like a football when threatened, while scorpionfish protect themselves with venomous spines on their backs and fins. Resembling algae-covered rocks, they wait patiently to ambush their prey. The dragon-like features of a lionfish are the last thing that many small creatures will ever see. And this fearsome predator comes in several complex designs. All have elaborate fins armed with venomous spines for defense. Lionfish have been observed to hunt in packs, rounding up small fish. When they approach their prey, they spread their fins to the side and slightly forward so as to act as a barrier to prevent the prey from escaping before they swallow it whole. The boxfish looks more like a cartoon caricature than a fish. The heavy bony plates that form its square-shaped body make it a less than graceful swimmer, but the toxins it can exude from its skin make predators, even sharks, think twice. The blue-ringed octopus is another master of chemical warfare. They may be small, about the size of a golf ball, but the warning flashes of their blue ring should be taken very seriously. Their saliva contains enough paralyzing venom to kill potential predators, including humans, in minutes. Nudibranchs might resemble globs of bright paint, but are in fact soft-bodied sea slugs. Like a mutant type of superhero, they can survive without a protective shell by reusing the defense mechanisms of the organisms they eat. Their diet includes many colorful creatures armed with toxic stings, such as anemones, sponges, and corals. The nudibranchs use the colorful pigments of their victims to produce their own colors, which can serve as camouflage. And they also store their prey's toxins, which in turn makes them poisonous to others and signals a clear warning for predators to steer clear. Slithering slowly over the reef, they devour anything edible within their path, leaving a slimy trail behind them. Blue-spotted cleaner shrimps live on the surface of anemones. They use their delicate appendages to gather tiny particles of food. Nearby is the sexy shrimp. Its name is inspired by the dance-like shaking of its abdomen. Their much larger cousin, the psychedelically colored peacock mantis shrimp, makes its home within the coral reef's burrows. It's believed that the males have the most advanced eyesight in the animal kingdom. There's no other creature on Earth that has the ability to see the many colors of polarized light. The sea fan's branches is home to a tiny animal that has evolved to camouflage itself so well that most species of this creature have only been discovered in the past 10 years. This is the pygmy seahorse. Standing just about 1 inch tall, they only live within a handful of coral species, which they imitate perfectly. They are so skilled at hiding that even the scientists who study the pygmy have extreme difficulty finding them. And it's believed that there are many more species of this seahorse yet to be found.